Hi. So I'm popping in a little bit unexpectedly and randomly on a weekend just because I've had the same question come up quite a few times in the last few weeks. And the question is, what do you do if you feel like a therapist is being unethical? So a situation that came up for one was that a therapist had told this client to rate her on Google. Give me a rating if you feel like it. Um, Another one during the session, when the client mentioned a person, the therapist said that they know them and then proceeded to share a lot of unhelpful opinions about that person. So in both those situations, the client is kind of left feeling like, should I report this? Like, what is going on? Or is it just me? Is it me that's wrong? And it's so unfortunate sometimes because when you're a client, usually, you got your own stuff to deal with. And going to a therapist and having a bad experience, it really sucks. So, first of all, your options are obviously to transfer to a different therapist, to be assertive and take it up with that therapist to try to find a resolution, or potentially to report them, depending on how severe the ethical violation is. If it's a sense of discomfort, a lot of times it might be better just to take it up with the therapist. For example, with the person that asked for a Google rating, um, the the client was she was asking for advice from other people, and so we kind of said, well, why don't you write down what happened, write down how it made you feel, and then bring it to that therapist. But the fact is that therapists, if they are registered either through the College of Registered Psychotherapists of Ontario, the Ontario College of Social Workers of Ontario, and also the College of Psychologists of Ontario, they are not allowed to ask for reviews as a form of testimonial. We are not allowed to have it. Now, they can ask for satisfaction surveys, feedback just to make sure that you're okay. You can even do those anonymously if the office is big enough. That's actually just part of good service. We want to know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, where we can get better. But we can't ask you to say, hey, this therapist is great. I'm going to rate her on Google because I had such a great experience. That's ridiculous. You're breaking your own confidentiality. And also, it kind of cheapens the whole process. I mean, this is healthcare. So the other thing that I want you to know is it is not your job to teach a therapist. Therapists are supposed to know this stuff. The minute that they get registered, they are supposed to know. You can't ask for testimonials. You need to leave your own opinion and your own personal experiences out of the session, especially your opinions, unless it's helpful. So it's not your job to teach. What the college will do, though, if you do, intend on reporting, is they do provide access for you to be able to call and run it past them as a hypothetical. You can call, not saying who you saw, and just say, is this worth reporting? Chances are, the majority of reports, unless they're most severe, they don't get any action taken. But sometimes when they do, the therapist may be told that they have to take certain training, ethical guidance. They have to sort of have some remediation before they can continue practicing. It's only for the more severe issues where a therapist definitely could face a disciplinary committee and lose their license. Usually that happens when there happens to be something like a sexual relationship between client and therapist. It's more rare, but I would say 80 to 90% of the time that I see someone has lost their license, it's because of that. So that's why the therapist and the client have to maintain boundaries. Boundaries are very, very important. And that, again, includes the therapist's personal opinion and life. Now, I can share my experiences with you to help validate what you're going through. But if you tell me that, Megan's a jerk, I can't say, yeah, she is. Actually, I know her too. Okay, that's ridiculous. So I just want you to know that it is not your job to teach your therapist. It is helpful at times, even for yourself, to be able to bring something up to them in a respectful, assertive way, just to state your feelings. Sometimes they just don't realize it. Sometimes they say stuff, they're human beings too. So you can actually find a resolution if you have the right therapist. And I can't promise you that it will always go well. People are people, and sometimes people will take it personally. Ideally, we try not to. We are supposed to be there for your benefit, to make your life richer and more, and for you to be more resilient. So I think it's important to, just like if you have a bad experience at a restaurant, to be able to say, hey, you know what, you did this, this, and this, that left me unhappy, and this is what you need to do to get better. That's wonderful. That's a very productive conversation. When it comes to mental health, I know it's not always that easy, but at the very least, you can choose to transfer if you want to start fresh. If it still bothers you, find support, talk to people, because people should be able to tell you just from common sense whether or not that's right or wrong. And ideally, if you can even talk to another therapist, maybe you can run it by them and see, did I overreact? Did I not? Because a lot of times we stop trusting our own judgment, and we shouldn't. Our gut instincts are usually pretty dead on. So first of all, if anything has happened to you in that case where you've had a bad experience with therapy, I am so sorry. I sincerely am sorry, because therapy is a wonderful thing. I will always be an advocate for therapy. I will always go and get my own therapist. And, we always try to be better at what we do. And, the second thing again is, it's not up to you to have to fix where the therapist is coming from, but you can make it better. There's steps that you can take to try to address the situation, and if it can't be addressed, then you just got to let it go and transfer off, or potentially do file that complaint, because the colleges are there to protect the public, not to protect therapists. They don't have our back. They have yours. They are there to step in to make sure that we are abiding by a certain set of principles that put the client first. So check out those websites for the standards of conduct if you're ever interested in finding out why people lose their licenses, what policies we are supposed to follow. Everything is detailed there, even down to the way that we store files and how long we have to store them and what's supposed to be in each case note. Everything is there. So the College of Registered Psychotherapists of Ontario, Ontario College of Social Workers and Social Service Workers, and the College of Psychologists of Ontario. Check it out.